Sephiroth is a twist on the conventional hero/main character in Final Fantasy and other fictional stories. For a long time, Sephiroth was a good man, fighting with honor and ending conflicts. If you looked at other main characters in Final Fantasy, such as the Warrior of Light, and thought to yourself, what if he turned evil and became a Warrior of Darkness? And this is the culmination of that thought. Squaresoft, now known as Square Enix, already dabbled in this type of character twist with Cecil Harvey, the Dark Knight from Final Fantasy IV. And instead of going from evil to good, it's quite the opposite. So sit back and prepare your Genova cells. This is Sephiroth, Character Spotlight. Sephiroth was born to Professor Hojo and Lucretia Crescent approximately 27 years before Final Fantasy VII. Hojo and Lucretia were working as scientists to Professor Gast, Shinra Electric Power Company's top scientist, on the Genova project that studied the remains of an extraterrestrial entity known as Genova. Genova is an extraterrestrial life form in Final Fantasy VII that also appears in retellings of sections of the game and the rest of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. Genova serves as a major antagonist in the world of Final Fantasy VII. The experiments on its cells have produced many of the other antagonists as well, including Sephiroth. Genova was mistaken to be one of the Cetra, an ancient people who had the power to talk to the planet. Hojo injected cell samples from Genova into the pregnant Lucretia and her unborn baby. She carried Sephiroth to term, his fetal form merging with the Genova cells as he developed. After the baby was born, he was taken away by Shinra scientists and Lucretia never even had the chance to hold him. Sephiroth never gained the ability to talk to the planet, as he is not of true Cetra descent, but Shinra found another use for him and raised Sephiroth to be a super soldier. They told him next to nothing of his true parentage, instead saying his mother's name was Genova and telling him nothing of his father. Sephiroth felt different from other children, but didn't know of the experiments that had created him. Sephiroth came to respect Professor Gast until he left Shinra, and considers Professor Hojo a hack scientist in comparison. Sephiroth joined Soldier, and during the Wutai War he was instrumental in ensuring Shinra's dominance. He rose to the rank of Soldier First Class and was admired and respected as a great war hero. While those in Shinra considered his strength unequaled even by the first-class soldier members, many young men, including Cloud Strife and Genesis Rhapsodos, idolized Sephiroth and sought to join Soldier to become heroes like him, making Sephiroth useful for Shinra as a propaganda tool. Near the end of the Wutai War, Sephiroth has only two close friends within Soldier, Angeal Hewley and Genesis Rhapsodos. When Genesis and Sephiroth duel in the virtual reality Junin, Sephiroth seems to be the strongest, but the fight ends inconclusively. Angeal stops the fight before either hurt each other too badly. Although the small wound Genesis takes does not heal, Sephiroth offers his blood for transfusion, but is told it is not compatible. Shortly before the Wutai War ends, Genesis vanishes and is declared missing in action. In the months after the war, the anti-Shinra group Avalanche intensifies its actions, raiding Junin. Sephiroth engages the Avalanche leader, Elfei, who asks whether he wants to fight for a reason, which has a profound effect on Sephiroth. The results of Sephiroth choosing to fight for a reason would one day threaten the planet's existence. Meanwhile, it is discovered Genesis has defected with a Shinra scientist named Hollander, creating an army using copy technology to graft Genesis cells into other traitor soldier members with which to rebel against Shinra. Angeal goes rogue, torn between his loyalties, and the two are declared killed in action. As Sephiroth participates in the Avalanche insurgency and Genesis war, his loyalties and emotions continue to be thrown into turmoil, leading to him refusing missions concerning Genesis and Angeal, and on a later assignment, he allows them to escape. Zack Fair, one of Sephiroth's soldier first-class comrades, kills Angeal and apparently Genesis, but the latter resurfaces several months later. Sephiroth participates in a mission to rescue Professor Hojo, who had almost defected with the Avalanche forces attacking the Shinra headquarters. In September of 0002, Sephiroth tells Zack he is considering retiring from Shinra, and their next mission together will likely be his last. On September 22nd, 0002, Sephiroth arrives at Nibelheim to investigate a monster outbreak believed to be connected to Genesis near the town's Mako reactor. He arrives with a small entourage, including Zack and two Shinra infantrymen, one of whom is the 16-year-old Cloud Strife. At the Mako reactor, Sephiroth finds several pod-like chambers containing monstrous creatures who used to be human, mutated by exposure to Mako. He finds a chamber labeled Genova, containing a feminine-looking creature. When Zack suggests a connection between Soldier and the creatures in the tanks, Sephiroth flies into a rage. Horrified, the reason he is different may be because he was created similarly to the monsters in the pods. Disturbed by the creature in the reactor having the same name as his mother, along with the once human monsters in the pods, Sephiroth makes his way to the manor that had been occupied by Shinra researchers. For several sleepless days, he pores over the research notes in the basement library, wondering if he was never told the truth of his origins. He comes to believe Genova is a Cetra, and therefore he, as Genova's son, is the last Cetra survivor. He falls into insanity and comes to believe the human race had betrayed the Cetra 2,000 years ago, leaving them alone to defend the planet from a calamity, eventually revealed to have been Genova itself, and resolves to take vengeance for his ancestors. On October 1st, Sephiroth destroys Nibelheim, setting the town on fire and killing many of the townspeople before returning to the reactor to claim Genova's remains. He is pursued by Tifa's father, Tifa, Zack, and Cloud. At the reactor, Tifa, a girl living in the town who had been Sephiroth's group's guide up the mountain, takes up Sephiroth's Masamune from her father's corpse. She attacks him, but he disarms her and cuts her down. Shortly after Sephiroth enters Genova's chamber, Zack arrives and fights him, but is defeated and tossed out of the chamber. Cloud re-enters, picks up Zack's Buster Sword, and rushes after Sephiroth. Caught off guard, Sephiroth is impaled from behind through the abdomen and collapses. As Cloud leaves to tend to Tifa, Sephiroth slices off Genova's head and stumbles into the room. Cloud attacks him again, and Sephiroth impales him with Masamune. Out of sheer force of will, Cloud pulls the sword out of his chest and uses it as a lever to hurl Sephiroth into a pool of Mako below the reactor. Sephiroth vanishes with Genova's head still in his grasp, apparently falling to his death. Sephiroth fell into the lifestream, his willpower too great to allow himself to be consumed. Over the next several years, Sephiroth traveled the lifestream, the planet's life energy, and the afterlife for its spirits that contains the summation of all the cognition its inhabitants have ever accumulated. Growing in power and knowledge, the fragments of his body congregated at the northern cave inside the North Crater, joining to recreate Sephiroth's physical form in a cocoon of Mako. Sephiroth's new goal is to merge with the lifestream and seize control of it to become a god, and become a god he did. Sephiroth's main weapon of choice is his Masamune, a 7-foot 2-inch Nodachi-inspired blade from the feudal Japan era. While initially a physical blade, after his transference into the lifestream, Sephiroth can manifest multiple copies of the blade at will, as he leaves the sword impaled in his victims and still has it whenever he is encountered. In Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Sephiroth manifests the Masamune into his hand upon his transformation from Kadaj, wielding the blade against Cloud Strife and his new fusion swords. Sephiroth demonstrates the blade's power by slicing through several metal structures, pillars, and concrete wreckage. Sephiroth matches the speed and deftness of his fellow first-class soldiers, Angeal and Genesis, in spite of their pair-wielding shorter weapons and attacking him at the same time. He demonstrates the blade's power by cleaving the Sister Ray's barrel into various segments as he assails Genesis in the virtual reality system. Sephiroth uses sword techniques and also utilizes magic against his foes. Hell's Gate is an aerial downward stab based on the attack he used to kill Aerith Gainsborough. Octaslash is Sephiroth's special attack in Dissidia and Zack Fair's DMW in Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. Supernova is an attack used by Sephiroth in his most powerful form, save for Sephiroth. Sephiroth breaks through the dimension like glass shattering, revealing time and space. Then a large asteroid travels through the Milky Way galaxy, destroying Pluto, traveling into Saturn's rings, forming a hole in the middle of Jupiter, crashing into the sun, causing it to explode, the effects of which disintegrate Mercury and Venus, finally culminating by enveloping Sephiroth, who is unaffected and dealing considerable damage to Cloud and his party. Supernova is Sephiroth's most iconic attack. With the black materia in his possession, Sephiroth can use the ultimate black magic spell, Meteor. A large meteor or meteors fall from the sky and destroys anyone, anything, in any place, even the planet itself, which is exactly what Sephiroth did to summon the lifestream and gain the power of a god. If Meteor is used, the only thing that can stop it is the ultimate white magic spell, Holy. Possibly the most popular villain since Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, Sephiroth is one of the greatest villains of all time. Sephiroth has never been out-villained since his conception. No matter how long the passage of time, Final Fantasy VII and its characters still live on in our hearts and our nostalgia. I hope you all enjoyed this video about Sephiroth, and I hope you take the time to hit the like button and share this video amongst your friends, because without you, this video never could have happened. In case you missed it last week, I also made a video about Devil May Cry's most loved bad guy, Virgil. Go check it out and tell me what you think in the comments section below. Thank you for all the support, and I hope to make more of these in the future.